You're listening to How to Get Over Your Ex, episode number 303. When I stopped wanting my ex wanted me. Welcome to How to Get Over Your Ex, a podcast on getting over your ex without it just taking time. I'm your host, breakup coach Dorothy. Let's turn your pain into power and your heartbreak into happy. Hello, hello, beautiful Bravehearts. How are you doing? I am so excited. Today we've got a special guest, Allison, here with us. She is a Braveheart alumni. She just finished the Get Over Your Ex program and she's on to Get Over Your Ex continued support. And it's been such a beautiful journey to witness her in. I'm so proud of you, Allison. I'm very, very excited for some of the analogies and insights and wisdom that you have to share with Bravehearts who are really going through the thick of it right now. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Yay, I'm so excited to be here. I have listened to your podcast for a really long time, even before I needed your actual program support. So,
Isn't that wild? I love that though. So fun.
yes.
Okay, so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you? Who are you? What do you do? Share anything that you feel comfortable sharing, and then we'll dive into your breakup story.
Okay, yeah. So I live in Southern California, but I'm from Arizona originally. I am a cardiothoracic anesthesiologist, and I'm also a certified coach, which I think is why I mean, it's not, I think you were on my radar because of that, just all the connections we have within the coaching community. So that's why I've been a longtime listener. Um,
So fun.
so I do some coaching, I do some doctoring. And yeah, I live with my three daughters in Southern California, and we have a beautiful life here.
Oh, I love it. You're such a badass. For anyone listening, like she literally is like the biggest badass. I don't know. I witness you and everything that you shared, and I'm just like so amazing. The fact that you're a doctor and a coach and you've got three daughters, and it just like your life looks so full. So I just love it. I love every second of that. So
Mm, thank
share
you.
with us, tell us about your breakup journey. What happened? What created the breakup? Tell us where it all started. And then how did you end up in the Get Over Your Ex program?
Yeah, so like I said, I had been kind of following your work, and it wasn't just as like, oh, this is another coach in the coaching community. It was because after a little bit of time in my marriage, or I guess before we were even married in my relationship, I had started to feel like there was a lot of sort of toxic cycles and patterns that we found ourselves in. And so I just knew that, like, at some point, something was going to happen. And when it did, I was going to join the Get Over Your Ex program to really work through some things. And it's kind of ironic because it's like I could see that coming for so long, but I wasn't willing to be the one that, like, made the change in the relationship. And I wasn't necessarily even willing to fully like look at my side of the equation until the breakup happened. And so I had been with my husband for 5 years. So this is my second marriage. I was already divorced from the father of my girls many years ago, which ironically was like not a difficult breakup to get over. It's just kind of funny that
Isn't
like
that
the person you're
crazy?
with, yeah, it's like you're with someone for so long, you have these kids, and somehow that breakup's like, okay, that's fine. That's meant to be that way. I'm happy about that. But then like another relationship that's maybe shorter or different will just set you onto this like spiral. So,
Time. I mean,
um,
that is just like a great example of like time doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how long you were in the partnership or how long it's been outside of the partnership. Time doesn't determine anything. It's crazy.
yeah, it's so true. So I had been with my partner for 5 years, and we had had some amazing parts of our relationship and some parts that were better than any other relationship I had had. But then we also had, like I said, this kind of toxic cycle. And we both knew it. And eventually he was the one to say no more. And so he left, he moved out of our home pretty abruptly. There was like a lot of drama involved in it. It wasn't a prolonged decision, even though it had been a long time in the making. It just was like one day to the next, boom, he's moving out, he's gone. In fact, he moved back to his hometown, which happens to be in Canada, so very far away.
Mhm.
Um, and I literally joined the Get Over Your Ex program like 2 days later. or something because I just knew, I just knew that like no matter what happens with that relationship, which actually we have sort of been on the road to reconciliation now, as you know, but I just knew like no matter what happens with this, whether it's done for good, whether there's something else coming with it, like I need to like get it together over here and like work through some things. And I knew that the program was going to be the perfect way to do that.
Allison, I love that. I love that for so many reasons, but more specifically, this recent thing has developed and it's just been kind of crazy. I've been talking to my husband about it. Well, actually, my husband talked to me about it because as I was going through leading up to maternity leave, during maternity leave, coming off of maternity leave, I felt like I was having this huge like identity crisis. I don't know if that's like a normal thing every time you have a kid. I don't know
Yeah,
if that, okay. I'm like,
I think
holy
so.
buckets, holy buckets. Long story short, I was like, oh my gosh, am I meant to do breakup coaching, heartbreak coaching, like all of this stuff? And my husband pointed out because there are so many people in my life. I was like complaining to him about something, about someone they had a service that I loved, and I went to go get the service that they provide, and they no longer did it. But like they were the best at it, like they were the best. And there's only two examples now that feel like minute, but they're important. Like there was a lash lady, and she was like the best. She could do like a full set in like 45 minutes. And then there was an acupuncture lady who specifically worked with fertility, postpartum, things like that. And they both like quit their jobs but they're so good at what they do. And like, of course, that's fine. They're on to bigger and better things and like whatever. But I just remember Jake calling me out and he's like, yeah, and you're so good at breakup coaching and helping people get over their ex and relationship coaching. Like, why would you ever even consider quitting? And it was just like such a big kind of like slap in the face of like this wake up call of like, oh my God, I do want to be the person where you can always come to me. And it was wild because that realization happened when you joined. And then this girl who I had worked with in the past went through this big breakup. But this woman in the Get Over Your Ex program, she was in the Get Over Your Ex program before, had rejoined for a new breakup and she knew to come to me. And like that to me was so like profound of like, yes, I love that. I love that you knew to come to me. I love that you knew like this is what I need to do and like this is the space I need to do it in because that's what I've tried to create my whole career. And I just like love that. So that's a total side tangent.
No, I love that tangent though, because first of all, like, thank goodness you didn't stop because then I wouldn't have gotten to actually work with you.
Right?
So for
Hmm.
selfish reasons, I'm like, yes. And also, like, just what a beautiful thing to be that person of like
Yeah.
whatever the niche is, whatever the service, whatever the thing is. Like, I aspired to that too.
Yeah.
Like, I want to
Yes.
be somebody that people are like, oh, when it's time, this is the thing I need, or, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, how
So
beautiful.
good.
Yeah,
So
that's
good.
awesome.
I love it. All right. So that's what led you to the Get Over Your Ex program. Tell me what happened when you joined. Like, what were the biggest obstacles that you were foreseeing for yourself? What were the biggest things that you were like, I need to work on this. This is what I need to do. These are my biggest like struggle or pain points.
I think one of them, which seemed like a really big deal at the time, and now I'm like, oh yeah, of course, everything's fine with this. But like right when this breakup happened, I was actually going on like a medical mission trip with my oldest daughter to Guatemala, and suddenly it was like, what do I do with my other two kids? Like, how do I function as a single mom again? And I had been a single mom before when I had divorced my first husband. And honestly, I'm quite well suited to it. But at the time, it was like, how can this even function? Um, Even though my husband, was the step parent, he's not their parent, like whatever. There was like a dynamic there, but it was like, how do I do this alone? And that seemed like a really big thing. And that kind of goes into kind of what we've worked on of like attaching your, ex to all of your future plans of like,
Yes.
how do I have the life that I thought I would have if he's not in it? And so that's been something that I've really worked through the program. And like now, the level of attachment that I have to him having to be in my life in order to have what I want is basically zero. And like I said, like I'm almost like, oh, it's always meant to be this way. Like I am a really good single mom. Now,
Hmm.
it's not perfect. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that, but like I'm very well suited to be a single mom to my three daughters. Like it's the four of us. We have a great time. The chaos of a girl household doesn't bother me. It's
I
loud and
love
dramatic, and
it.
I'm like, great, and it's like I'm just well suited to that. And so I feel like, oh, of course, even if I don't have him as my partner or anyone as my partner, even potentially, I got this. Like, I can do this. I don't need
So
him to
good.
do these things. And in fact, maybe I'd rather do them by myself in a lot of ways.
Oh my gosh, though. For real, there's like so many pros. Like even as someone who's married currently, well, I guess maybe that's why I see it is like I'm like all I love so many components of being married and raising a child with another human being, but I see how great it would be in so many ways to just like do it all on my own and choose and run and go with it. Which I don't want to negate any of there are difficult moments and being a single parent. I don't want to negate any of that. But I do love your mindset around it of saying I'm well suited for it. Like
Yeah.
that's a beautiful, like elegant, classy way of being like, yeah, I'm well suited to do this. And how
Yeah.
do you feel when you say that? How do you feel when you like express that?
Yeah, I just feel really like empowered by
Mhm.
that. And I've also kind of realized, I think really in the last few months of being in the program, not even directly necessarily because of anything we've talked about, but just like all the stuff marinating in my brain over this time, I've just like really sort of realized and come to embrace that I'm kind of an outlier in some
Mhm.
ways. Like I do unconventional things that people think are weird. Like, why would I start a coaching business when I have this successful doctoring career? Why would I do this and that? Like, yeah, I like being a single mom. That's exactly what I
Yes.
do, you know? And
Oh my
so
gosh, Allison, I
so I've
love
really come
that.
to embrace that. And actually that ties into like the current situation of what's happening with my ex that I came to get over. Like I said, we're kind of on the road to reconciliation. And if we do and when we do, hopefully that's kind of what we're aiming for. Like it's this unconventional relationship. It's a long distance relationship. He's in Canada, I'm here, and maybe that's perfect. And nobody can
Yes.
understand that in order for us to do it. Like, if that works for us, then it works for us. And so far, I think it will because, I'm well suited to my single mom life and he likes his career and, single life, not single, but, not in a household of girls screaming life and, having some space life. He likes that. And I like my life. And then we come together and we get to kind of have the best of both worlds. So, yeah, that's another thing I've kind of realized is like it's okay to be an outlier, and I like that about myself.
So delicious. It's okay to be an outlier, and I like that about myself. Hello. Boom. I mean, I told you guys she's a badass, right? Like that is badassery. Fucking amazing. So good. Okay, I love this. So, attachment, you said, was one of the biggest things that you were overcoming in terms of feeling like, okay, I don't need him to create everything that I want. I don't need him to create and live my bigger and better life. You had a beautiful analogy. Can you share it? Because I think it's so profound for people listening.
Yeah. So this was like another like marination in my brain as a result of like what we were working on and attachment being such a big concept that we focus on in the program. And so this analogy just came to me of like attachment feels like this. Okay, so imagine you're like in the ocean, or maybe it's a lake, like a body of water, and you have this floaty, this like gorgeous unicorn floaty, and you're like holding on to it for dear life. And it's kind of slippery, and you're like sliding, and you're grasping, and you're flailing, and you're like so terrified to fall off of this floaty in the body of water. And you're basically like splashing around and causing a scene. And then you just realize, wait a minute, I'm in like waist deep water. I can just stand up, like just fucking stand up. It's okay. Just stand up. And when you stand up, then maybe you keep the floaty close still because you're not flailing like a crazy person and causing a scene. It's just cool. You're there, floaty's there, everything's fine. And maybe sometimes the floaty actually does drift away and it like goes out to the horizon and you're so bummed because it was this awesome unicorn and it's gone, but you're still safe because you're standing up. You didn't need it. You wanted it, but like you didn't need it. You're okay. And maybe, just maybe, while you're there, safe in your waist deep water, maybe like a pineapple floaty comes up and it's like perfect and it's even better than the unicorn. And it's so easy to stay on the pineapple. Like nothing crazy has to occur. Like you can just stay with your pineapple floaty and everything's cool. And it's even better than you expected it to be with the unicorn. And so to me, that's like the perfect analogy of what attachment feels like to a person or even to an outcome or a situation when you're just so desperate, like, I have to have this. I can't possibly lose this person or I'll never have what I want. So let me cling, let me control and nag in my case. Let me act a fool. Let me like do all this wild stuff just to hang on. And in the meantime, you could just stand up and know that you're fine without this thing. Even if you really want it, you're fine without it. And in the letting go of that attachment, you're actually much more likely to keep it anyway. And if you
Oh,
don't, you're still fine. So that's
so
like, I
good.
don't know, this like vision of this like came to me during
I
the
love it. As a beach lover, I'm here for the floaties
yes,
analogy. We're good
yes,
here. I
totally.
love it. I mean, amazing. I think one of the things that's hardest to remember that I want to point out here too is when you're grasping on to the pool floaty or to the lake floaty or ocean floaty, right? I think it feels like survival, right? You are in this like survival state of feeling like if I slip off, if I lose the grasp of this floaty, I will die. It like feels like that.
Yes.
And so it takes a lot of courage and a lot of bravery, aka brave hearts, right? It takes a lot of bravery and courage to let yourself release from it and then take the first step of trying to stand up. And so just know that like if you're someone who's in like this survival state, very scared of even just taking the first courageous step towards trying to build a life that's bigger and better than the one that you had with your ex, please know that that is normal. Like that fear is normal, and taking that first step might be the hardest one. And so if it feels hard, that's okay, but still do it anyways. Still try it anyways and know that it might be messy, it might be slippery, it might maybe you step on seaweed instead of sand and it's like gross, but know that it's all happening and it's all working for you. And I think that's how I feel sometimes when I think back to like learning how to mow my lawn. Like again, this is such like a minute example, but like learning how to mow my lawn or learning how to take care of a home by myself. It was very scary and it had to like it was like a level of bravery and courage to say I can do this on my own and maybe I could even be good at it. And even if I'm not, I can find a way to make this happen for myself without him in my life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. That's so funny because I also had that experience with learning how to mow my lawn. And like now I just hired someone to do it. But the first time I tried to mow my lawn after my husband moved out, like the neighbor literally came out and was like, "What are you doing?" Like, perhaps I should assist you with this. And it almost made me like tear up when he did that because I was like, "Oh my gosh, like first of all, yes, I can try to do it and I'm doing it. And also like there are people to help too."
Yes.
And it's like getting support with taking that step. It's like I used to teach swim lessons, so it's like kids are so scared to get in the water, but when they know that you're there,
Hmm.
maybe they'll be a little bit more, comfortable in some way to do it. And so like that
Yeah.
for me felt like you were support to me to be able to like, okay, just try to stand up. Like try to
Yep.
stand up. It's okay. And
I'm
like
right here. I'll
be here
catch you
with me.
if you fall, but you're not going to fall because there's
Yeah.
literally floor right there.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna be okay. But also it's nice to know that someone's there to like make sure or remind you.
Yes, exactly. So good. I love that. Amazing. I'm obsessed. So, was there anything else that you feel like when it came to like when you joined, was there any other obstacles or pain points or anything else that you wanted to talk about?
Um, I think like the other kind of big component that I was working on was desire, like for my ex and feeling like nobody would be as good as him, even though I
Mm,
could recognize like how many toxic cycles and like things we had been in that like on paper did not seem desirable. But at first I just really felt not only attached to him being part of my life in order for it to be what I thought it was going to be, but also just feeling like there's nobody that's going to be as good as him. And maybe even also, like, more than that, was the element of like, nobody's going to want me like the way that he
mm.
did. Now, clearly, the man has just left. So it's like, what do you mean? Like, he's not actively wanting you right now. But, the brain goes crazy and it's like, nobody's going to want me. Like, I'm too old. It's too late. I have these kids. I have this and that, blah, blah, all the stories of like,
Yeah.
that was my last chance. And I think that was another part of it too. It's like, well, I already messed up one marriage. now I'm about to mess up a second marriage. So then what? Guess I'm out of turns, I'm out of
Mm,
chances. And so that whole line of thinking of like, you know, he's the only one. Now that he's gone, I got nothing. No one's ever coming into my
yeah.
life. That was definitely something that I had to like work through.
How did you overcome that, or how did you move through it? Where
Yeah,
did you
I
land?
Yeah, I think so. Through the 3 months of the program, like my desire for him in that current form of our relationship went from like really high to again, essentially zero. And that's because I really worked on like wanting myself, first of all, and really like stepping into just having the kind of life that I want to have regardless of who's in it, like what you always say of like life is the sundae and then the partner can be the cherry on top, that kind of a thing. I
Yeah.
really started like focusing on like what do I want? Like, you know what? I want to turn my desk the other way and it's in our bedroom, so that would have been weird if he was here, but like now I can do whatever I want. I'm going to turn my desk this way. I'm going to put up different artwork. I'm going to do this and that. So there was a lot of kind of like actions that reinforced to me that like, hey, I get to do what I want and have this life that I want. And then I mean, I feel like I got a good amount of coaching on from you about like, there's going to be someone out there. Like maybe it's him, maybe it's not, but it's like there is for sure somebody, probably lots of somebody's out there that will be
Mhm.
aligned with everything you want, that
Yeah.
will be the kind of partner that you are actually desiring and the type of relationship that you're actually desiring. And it took a while for
Yes.
that to like land in my body, beyond the
Yeah.
intellect level. But it did, and I know that now.
So good. Oh, I love that. That's so delicious. Learning how to want yourself. So profound.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
I think that's such a big element of it. It's like we spend so much time trying to be wanted by somebody else and
Yeah.
clinging to the idea of that or taking so much validation from that. But it's like if you can just want yourself and be who you want to be and like have this relationship with yourself, then everything else really just truly is like a bonus and a fun addition.
Yeah.
And it's so much easier to like have the relationship you want when you're so good with you because like anybody else that comes in, it's like either they align with that or they're in such stark contrast that you're like, oh no, I don't like this. I
And
like
it's
me
so,
better.
yes, and it's so clear because you know you so well.
Yeah.
Like I think about that a lot of like not being in muddy water, knowing very clearly who I am, what I desire, and then it makes everything else so much more simpler because I'm like, oh, this is or is not a fit, and it's not about me, right?
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Let's talk about reconciliation because you brought that up.
Yeah.
Can you share with the audience when that happened? How did that happen? Like where are you at with it? I think one of the things that I talk a lot about is I think it's so crazy to like go back so far and think back to when I was going through my breakup. Really, I didn't want to get over my ex. I just wanted my ex to come back. And so I always like think about like, would I have joined a program called Get Over Your Ex? Because truthfully, I just wanted my ex back. But then, I mean, I'm always talking about how what does it mean to be over your ex? And I think it's about reducing desire, reducing attachment, so that if your ex does come back, you guys have a completely different partnership because you've learned how to reduce that and be in your calm state. And then you get to decide, is this a fit for me or not? So explain how that happened for you. Tell us what happened, how did it happen, all the things.
Yeah. So, first of all, I just want to say, like, the fact that I mean, you're the only breakup coach I've ever had, but I do really appreciate the fact that you leave so much openness to that. Like you say somewhere in the program or maybe just in our coaching or whatever, it's like yeah, you might want your ex back, but like, even if they come back, you don't want to have the same relationship you had with them. There's something different that could await you. And like, just the fact that you are like leaving open space for us to make that decision or have that be a possibility
Yeah.
felt really refreshing to me because I can imagine that like some semi like militant type coaches would be like, no, like they're not good for you. Like this isn't the thing. They left you. Like, I don't know. I can just like imagine like stereotypical like coaching like that
Mhm.
that really would make it feel almost shameful to say like, well, I still am reconsidering like a reconciliation. So
Yeah.
I just really thank you for like the openness of like, you get to do whatever you want and like let's just make it so that it works for you.
Yes, exactly. 100%.
Yeah. So, I mean, really honestly, like fairly early on, I mean, I want to say just like within weeks of my husband moving out, like we were talking again. Our life, the logistics of our life being tied together. There were conversations that, needed to happen for logistics reasons, but then we also started going into conversations about like, maybe we want to be together. Like let's think about like what that would look like, et cetera. Um, and so it's really early on that we started talking about that. But I think it really helped me to have physical separation from him, um, and work through my own stuff with you. And,
Hmm.
when I say that, like, I've pretty much entirely reduced my attachment and desire for him. Like that sounds crazy because like, well, don't you want to like desire a person that you're going to try to have a relationship with? And the answer is yes, but like I've reduced my attachment and desire to that old version of our relationship and how we both showed up in it. And so to me, like this talk of reconciliation and this movement towards that, it's essentially like starting a whole new relationship in a lot of ways. And of course, there's history. You can't just erase all of it. But
Hmm.
if nothing else, it's at least like a brand new, chapter or like volume of books in the series. Like this relationship that we're working to build is something entirely different.
Hmm.
And it can be different because I'm viewing it differently. I'm showing up differently. I'm very clear on how I want to be, what I want, and it's really easy, like you were saying, for me to assess, like, okay, this new relationship with him, does it fit with what I
Mm.
want? Um, and I'm so happy that I've gotten to that place because, we've had these cycles where we haven't really like broken up before, but we've had ups and downs, like really big ups and downs. And, it would always be like, okay, then we just are fine again, but without any actual change. And then
Yeah.
the cycle repeats. So this time it's like, because I did all this work with you, I show up differently and I think differently and I feel differently. And I just am so much more discerning without attachment to like, is this what I actually want? And so
Yes.
because I think that, there were things on his side of the street to work on, of
Hmm.
course.
Hmm.
But me also being different helps create like a positive force in the relationship and in the
Yeah.
communication. So yeah, we're working on being together and
Hmm.
like planning to be at this point together. I just visited him in Canada, um, and we had a really good time. And it was
Yeah.
like I felt so good in myself and how I'm showing up and like what I want. And how he showed up and the dynamic was in alignment with that. And I also
Yes.
knew going into that trip, like, if it's not in alignment with what I know my life can be, then I'll be able to detect that and I'll know that it's not in
Hmm.
alignment. So,
Yes.
yeah. And like
Did the
just,
dynamic with him feel differently than it did before?
yeah, it felt completely different because I think before we were just in this place of like, constantly triggering each other. Me, getting controlling or all out of fear and like pursuing him or clinging in some way. And then of course him pulling away because it's the classic like anxious attachment meets avoidant attachment. And I go forward and
Hmm.
he pulls back and then I go forward more and he pulls back. And it was like
Yeah.
this like back and forth tension, like in a bad way between us for a long time, even though we had really good periods within that. And this time it just felt like I just felt like me again, honestly.
Mm.
I just felt like myself again, which part of
Good.
my like bigger and better life that we've talked about is like I wanted to get my health back on track. Like I had gained a bunch of weight since we'd been together, probably because of all the stress and cycles we'd been in. And like I've already lost like 20 pounds in the last couple of months. And I just feel physically like myself. I feel emotionally like myself. And so, the way that I felt being with him there was like fun and like excited and loving and happy and just like in charge of my own emotions because it's not to say that there was like zero anything that would have triggered me.
Hmm.
He is who he is, right? And I am who I
Yeah.
am in some ways. So it's
Hmm.
like there were a few things like small incidents of like things he said or him getting frustrated about something that I think is stupid or whatever. And before I would have like gotten so triggered and like said something and like nagged. And this time I was just like, whatever, I'm just gonna go over here and listen to this thing on my phone, or I'm gonna look out the window and check out the scenery. I'm gonna do whatever and take care of
Mhm.
myself. And so that, and then of course, when you like lean back like that, then no problem is created.
Oh my God, the lean back energy, it just like
Yeah.
changes and shifts everything. It reminds me of like masculine and feminine, like you leaning back into your feminine, knowing yourself, loving who you are, wanting what you have. When you lean back to like what isn't for you, then I think what's fascinating is I'm sure you watched his experience lean into you.
Yes.
And that is, I mean, that's a vibe, sister. I love it.
Yeah, yeah, that's actually something else that's come to me like in really just with a lot of clarity during these last few months together with you is like that masculine feminine thing. Like I know that that exists, I get it. And I also have like a super masculine type energy like with my medical career and like
Yeah.
single momming and pushing and I decide and I'm the one and like that energy in my relationship with him did not work and it caused the opposite of my intended effect. And so I really got to see like when I was with him this past week of like oh yeah, if I just like lean back, I don't say anything. It's not to say that I'm like a doormat or some like submissive whatever.
Mhm.
Like, no. But when he's grumping about something stupid, I don't need to say anything. I'm just over here checking out the fall foliage in
I'm
July.
having a great time.
Yeah, I'm feeling great. And like, and then he gets over his little thing, whatever it is,
Mhm.
and nothing else happens, and it's like not a big deal. And then he's connected to me, and everything's fine.
Oh
And
my
I'm
gosh.
happy in the
Mhm.
meantime, and I'm not spiraling, and I'm just enjoying my own self and my
Such
own
a
life.
different vibe, right?
It is.
Oh,
It's so different.
I'm so excited for you, Allison. This is amazing. So profound. I'm obsessed. Is there anything, I guess the last thing that I want to do for listeners is for anyone listening who's really going through the thick of heartbreak right now, what would you tell them?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I really think that sometimes your worst day turns out to be your best day. Not 100% of the time, but a lot of times. And when you feel like this breakup is the worst thing that could have ever happened to you, like I promise, and I know for sure that it's probably going to turn out to be one of the best things that's happened for you. And you can't see it now, and it seems terrible now, but like seriously, it will turn out to be this fork in the road, whether you reconcile, whether you don't, whatever it is. There's something else that's awaiting you that's so much better. And so you just have to get through the like really hard time and something else even better is going to be there. Just like the floaty. Unicorn's gone. Okay, fine. But you know what? That pineapple floaty is pretty amazing and even better.
Oh, I love it. It's so good. So good, Allison. Thank you so much for joining us on the How to Get Over Your Ex podcast. Where can people find you? You're a coach. Tell them what you do. Where can they find you if they want to work with you?
Yeah, so I first of all, thank you so much for having me on. This is like so fun. I'm obsessed with all of your work as I have been for a long time before I even needed it.
Thank
So I'm so
you.
honored to be here. And yeah, they can find me on Instagram at Allison Anderson Coaching. That's probably the best place. I am doing a lot of like relationship focused coaching now. Taking kind of like the things I've learned and like translating that, especially like the lean back energy, the masculine feminine stuff, like a lot of my other doctor colleagues and, high achieving women in those traditional careers, they could really benefit from a lot of the stuff that I've been working on lately. So I'm excited to share that with them. So
Yay. So good. Well, thank you, Allison. I love you dearly. I'm so grateful to be a part of your journey, and I will talk to you next time.
thank you. I'm so grateful.
If you're loving the How to Get Over Your Ex podcast and you want to learn how to get over your ex in 3 months or less to build a life better than the one you thought you had with your ex, I would like to personally invite you to my next group course where we take everything you've learned here on the podcast and apply it to your life. Come check it out at www.lifecoachdorothy.com.